Quantum's Warriors, here we go again. It's Wednesday. We have another video. This time we're going to work on practicing with circumference, radius, and diameter. Let's jump right into it. You see I've moved my bar, so it's going to take me time to figure out where everything is at. The directions for this part say, L is the center of the circle, find the radius of each circle. Now they give us the diameter because the line goes all the way across. They want us to find the radius. Well, if you remember back, the relationship between diameter and radius is a radius is half of a diameter, or a diameter is double a radius. So since they're giving us the diameter, and they say it's 7, we're going to write down 7. Oh, that's way too thick. Okay, let's write down a 7 like this, and we're going to divide it by 2 because it's half. 2 goes into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. So we could write it as 3 1/2. That would be one choice because the 3 is the answer, and then remainder 1 over 2. Okay, but there's another way we could also write it. Okay, if we divide it and we say 2 goes into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract, you get 1. You can put a decimal and a 0. Something we've done in class. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 minus 10 is 0. Bring your decimal straight up. You get 3 5/10. So one way you got 3 1/2. The other way you get 3 5/10. They're both equivalent. That means exactly the same thing because 5/10 is 1/2. Okay, just so you can see two ways to do it. Now in this one we also have the entire diameter, so we got to divide by 2. So we say 2 into 3.6, or 3 6/10. 2 goes into 3 once. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Bring down the 6. Yeah, you can say it with me too while we're doing this. You know how we do in class. 2 goes into 16. 8 times. There you go. Say it with me. 8 times 2. Yes, 16. 16 minus 16 is 0. Bring our decimal straight up. So our radius equals 1 8/10. Okay, so that's just practicing taking a diameter and cutting it in half and finding a radius. Okay, now this one. L is the center of the circle. We see L at the center of the circle. Find the diameter of each circle. Now this time they're giving us a radius, and we're going to find the diameter. Okay, so the radius, when you double it, you find the diameter. So we go 6.3 times 2. 3 times 2, 6. 2 times 6, 12. Move the decimal once. So we get 12 6/10 for the diameter. Okay, now on this one, we got 1 7/10 as a radius, so we go times 2. 7 times 2 is 14, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, so we get 3 4/10. So those are our two answers. Okay, so first we practiced how you take a diameter to cut it in half. Let's look back at that. Take a diameter, you cut it in half, divide by 2. If you have a radius, you multiply it by 2. Now the reason why we need to know that is because that's what helps you find circumference, but we'll get to that in a minute. Right here it says a circle has a radius of 6 3/16 inches. Find its diameter. So we have to take 6 3/16 and multiply it by 2. Okay, so first thing I would do is take 16 times 6, multiply and add, just like we always do when we take a mixed number and change it to an improper fraction. So over here we go 16 times 6, 6 times 6, 36, carry the 3, 6 times 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, so we get 96. Of course that's 96 over 16, because the 16 stays the same. They're going to multiply it by 2. But because, you know, this is a fraction, we're going to make 2 a fraction, so make it 2 over 1. Now we can cross cancel. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 16 8 times. Now we can go 96 times 1 is 96. 8 times 1 is 8. We can divide 8 into 96. 8 goes into 9 once. 1 times 8 is 8. We get 16. 8 goes into 16 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, so the answer is 12. Okay, so it has a radius of 6 3/16, then it has a diameter of 12. You know, and when you think about it, let's see. when you think about it, let me erase all this. Multiplying 6 and 3/16 times 2 is really the same thing as adding 6 and 3/16 plus 3 and 16. So you would have 3 plus 3, 6 16ths. 6 plus 6 is 12. Now look that. I'm going to leave this just like, I'm not going to start this video over. I just got the wrong answer. And that's what can happen to you guys sometimes. So I'm going to go back and check my work the other way, see if I can figure out what I did wrong. You always learn more by making mistakes and figuring out what your mistake was. We had 6 and 3/16. Oh, I think I know what my mistake was. 16 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. Carry the 3. 6, 7, 8, 9. But now I got to add the 3. 96 plus 3 is going to be 99. So it's going to be 99/16. Okay. And then, since it's a radius, we're going to multiply it by 2. The rest of it we did right. 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 16 8 times. So we get 99/8, or 99 divided by 8. 8 goes into 9 once. 1 times 8 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. 8 goes into 19 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. Subtract. So you get 12 and 3/8. So that is my right answer, 12 and 3/8. But like I was telling you before, I'm going to put 12 and 3/8 in my head. I got that filed away. Going times 2 is the same thing as adding it twice. 3/16, 6 and 3/16. Oh, that's an ugly 6. That one's better. Remember, when we add fractions, we only add the numerators. So that's 6/16, and 6 plus 6 is 12. But you can reduce this. Divide by 2, divide by 2. That will become 3/8. So we get 12 and 3/8. And that way we know we did it right. I did it 2 ways, and I caught my own mistake. That's what can happen to you guys, so that's why you always check your work. It's very important to check your work. Okay, now on this one, the circle has a diameter of 13.5 inches, and they want us to find the radius. So we got to take 13 and 1/2 and divide it by 2. Oh, you got to remember your rules for division. Me personally, I'm always going to go 13 times 2 is 26, and then add the top, plus 1 is 27. It's 27 over 2. Divided by, that's really divided by 2 over 1, but you can't divide by a fraction, so you flip it and multiply. So it's times 1 over 2. So now you go 27 times 1, which is 27, and 2 times 2, which is 4, and let's not leave it as 27 over 4. We're going to divide 4 into 27. 4 goes into 27 6 times. 6 times 4 is 24. And subtract, we get 3, so our answer would be 6 and 3/4. So 6 and 3/4 is half of 13.5. Remember, you can pause this video at any time or you can rewind to go back and look and see what I did. Find the circumference of the following circles. Now remember, circumference is pi times diameter. There's our pi sign times diameter. And right here they're giving us the radius. So if they give us the radius, first we got to go 6 times 2, which is 12. Then we can do 3.14 times 12. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Put my 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. So, oops, what did I do there? Let's move this out of the way. Put it up here. Then we add. We get 8, 6, 7, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So our circumference would be 37 and 68/100. Now on this one, they give us the diameter. So I always put pi on top. 3.14 times 4.3. And then we can just multiply it out like the decimals aren't even there. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3, 4. 3 times 3 is 9. Put my 0. Get rid of this. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry my 1. 4, 5. 4 times 3 is 12. And then we can add them up. 2. 0, carry the 1, 9, 10, 15, carry the 1, 2, 3, and 1. Now this is where we gotta watch out. 1, 2 places here, 1 place here. So together, 3 places. 1, 2, 3. So we get 13.502. Many times they're just going to tell you to put 13 and 5/10, just to round it. Okay? Now let's see. Now on this one, we're going to find the circumference, but using 22/7 as pi, because that's the other way we can do it, is pi. They give us the diameter, which is 16, so we're going to do 22/7. Actually, let me move this out of the way a little bit. Uh-oh. You know that happens in class all the time. Let's move this back. I'm just going to go ahead and work with it. We got 22/7 times 16/1. Okay? So we're going to go 22 times 16. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 2 is 12. 13. Put a 0. 2. 2. Add 2. 5. 3. So we've got 352 over 7. Now we got to divide by 7. Well, that should be pretty easy. That goes in 5 times. Let's get this out of the way. 5 times 7 is 35. 35 minus itself is going to be 0. Bring down your 2. 7 goes into 2, 0 times. So you subtract, you're going to get a remainder of 2. So you're going to get 50 and 2/7. That's for this one, 50 and 2/7. Now in this one, they give us the radius, so we got to multiply by 2. So we got 1 3/4. We'll multiply that by 2. First go 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So we get 7/4 times 2 over 1. 7 times 2 is 14. 4 times 1 is 4. So we get 14/4. Okay, now they want us to find the circumference. We just found the diameter, which is 14/4. Now we got to go 22/7 times 14/4. We can cross cancel. 7 goes into 7 once. 7 goes into 14 twice. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 goes into 22 11 times. 11 times 2 is going to be 22. 1 times 2 is going to be 2. What's 22 divided by 2? In my country, it's 11. So the circumference is going to be 11. Okay, now here's the last one. Whoa, look at this. It's not even a whole circle. It's called a semicircle or a semicircle. This figure shows a semicircle with a radius of 12 inches. You see the radius is 12 inches. L is the center of the circle. Use 3 14/100 for pi. Okay, the questions are down here. What is the length of the curve? Well, this part right here, well, I'm on white, so we use a yellow, is the curve. It's the actual curve. It's half of the circumference. So if you think about it, to apply this, if you divide the circumference by 2, you're going to know the length of the curve. So let's first find the circumference. We know the radius is 12. 12 times 2 is 24, so the diameter is 24. We go 3.14 times 24. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times, carry the 1, 4, 5. 4 times 3 is 12. Put our 0. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. We get 6. 8 plus 5 is 13. Carry our 1. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 6 plus 1 is 7. Decimal 1, 2, 1, 2. So our circumference is equal to 75 and 36/100. But the semicircle is half of the circumference. So I got to divide that by 2. We'll take 75.36 divided by 2. 2 goes into 7 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. Bring down the 5. 2 goes into 15 7 times. 7 times 2 is 14. 15 minus 14 is 1. Bring down the 3. 2 goes into 13 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. Subtract to get 1. Bring down the 6. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. So the length of the curve is 37 and 68 hundredths. 37 and 68 hundredths inches. Okay? Gives us the length of the curve. Then it says, what is the perimeter of the semicircle? The perimeter is going to be all of these lines added up. That's going to include this part, the base of the semicircle. So we already know the curve is 37 and 68 hundredths. We know the diameter is 24, not 12, but 12 and 12 is 24. So we're going to add 24. Okay, 8 plus 0 is 8, 6 plus 0 is 6, 7 and 4 is 11, carry the 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 61 and 68 hundredths would be the perimeter. Okay, and that's all for today. You know, in today's lesson, we learned, first of all, let's go back to the first one, how to find, oh, that's too far. We learned how to find radius when they give us diameter. We learned how to find diameter when they give us radius. We multiply by 2. We learned how to find, when they give us a fraction, find the radius or find the diameter. Then we learned how to use 3.14 to find the circumference. We learned how to use 22 over 7 as pi to find the circumference. And we learned how to apply it by finding a semicircle. This will be the trickiest one, but if you think about it the way I did it, man, that junk's easy. It's not really that hard. You just got to use your mind and think. And that's it for today's lesson. We'll do our homework in class tomorrow.